Thank you very much. So, before I start, first of all, thank you. You wanted to see this talk more than the sharks, so that's a lot. It's going to be amazing. But I have a confession to make. I never felt more of an imposter syndrome than before this talk, coming to the Netherlands to talk about optimization. There's a good reason for that. If you are into conversion optimization, performance optimization, there's so many people from the Netherlands who are like top-level, world-class experts in those fields, and I was always wondering why. I never really understood why this is the country with the highest per capita number of optimizers. Until I came here yesterday. Every corner of the land is so optimized. You have to take advantage of everything you have here so you can live. So I guess it's in your blood, in the genes, in the water, whatever it is. But now I know. I'm going back home to Portugal and now I know why there's so many Dutch optimizers. Before we start, I want to know, like, if you're a developer, can you raise your hand, please? Or write code, have ChatGPT write code for you. Have designers? Okay, the rest of you? Okay, someone screening what they do? Any optimizers? Marketing, okay, I'm going to forget that. Okay, but a lot of developers. This next slide, I really need you to go as loud as you can if it triggers you. Please do that. Okay, that's not bad. You'll wake up the animals. So, the reason I'm sharing this, I'm showing you this to trigger you, to just make you upset and get you excited about the talk. But there's something like this in the world of conversion optimization as well, and that's the phrase CRO. Now, the first rule for optimization is don't call it CRO, because that is the lowercase p of conversion optimization. There are two reasons for that. If you call it CRO, it means you're only trying to improve conversion rate, one metric, and not care about anything else. It's very easy to hack conversion rate and make it higher. So if I told you I'm going to sell you an apartment in Amsterdam for the price of from 2008, the conversion rate would be very, very high. But I would lose money, or you would lose money, because I tried it. The second reason is, if you're only focusing on conversion rate and nothing else, you're leaving so much on the table and so much things that you can do using these frameworks I'll show you today. Things like average order value that you're not working on. Repeat purchase rate, customer lifetime value. Optimization is about all of that, and not just the conversion, not just about completing the checkout flow. It's that and a lot more too. So, I will need some volunteers, I will need participation during the presentations as we go through some frameworks that are very simple and very easy to use and a great way for you to get started with conversion optimization. I hope you're willing to participate and not tired from the heat from the mangrove or wherever you walk. So I expect that to happen today. Now, what you can expect to learn today, I like to have key points every time I present anything, so optimization is that simple. It's really, really simple. Getting started is about as simple as anything else that you can do. But it's a lot of work that never ever ends. I'll show you the process of this later. The second thing is, it is essentially a three-step process. There's research, prioritization, and then implementation. And implementation, like that's the last part. Every client will ask you, can we do some A/B tests? Like, that's not the most important. That's the implementation. Don't do the first two, you will never be able to do A/B testing or any of that stuff. And the famous Pareto principle, 80-20, absolutely applies here. I'll show you how in a later slide. But before I do, let me explain why I'm talking about this. Like, who am I to come to the Netherlands, the land of optimizers, and talk about optimization? So, as Taco said, I've been working with WordPress for a very long time, since 2007. I am a theme and plugin author, both free and commercial. I was a member of the theme review team at WordPress.org. Core contributor, I think 5 times. Small contributions, but they count. That's what they tell us. And it's good for the CV. I was former lead developer of Klarna checkout plugin for WooCommerce. We released that together with Automatic and Klarna. It was a huge project. And former CTO at Search Engine Journal. I was also a CXL certified conversion optimization expert. Currently, I am growth manager at Maximer and Norwegian Premium certified expert agency. Platinum, sorry, not premium. Also, I host a podcast that Taco told you about, so check it out if you want to learn about website optimization. So, why am I talking about this today? This is the working title of the talk, and that was horrible. I had to change it. I wanted to apply with this. It was very cool. So basically, how to stop relying on platform defaults and start optimizing your website. So I landed on start optimizing. Now, platform defaults are the one thing that annoys me the most about off-the-shelf solutions like WooCommerce, like Shopify, like anything else that you can use. The reason for that is the UX is basically done by someone else that you never knew, you never will know. Yes, it gives you a great starting point, but also it gives you a lot of defaults that you will use without even thinking about it. That is very bad, because you don't know if it works for your users, and you never think about it. So, throughout the talk, I will use an example of a WooCommerce website that I will go through, analyze, dissect. And just use it as an example. The reason I'm using this website is because at WooCommerce blog, they use it as a proof that WooCommerce can scale. So it's a really large WooCommerce store. I'm not affiliated with it. I think it's a good website that could be better. So this is the website, and this is the thing I mean when I say platform defaults. So if you look at this, the product category page. This is what almost every WooCommerce store looks like. So you come to the page, and you want to see some products, and they're sorted by default. That's what the user sees. What on earth is that? That doesn't make sense, no matter how much you try to explain it. I mean, there's default sorting, there's also sort by latest. If I'm a user, I don't know what default is. Like, I have no idea. Imagine you want to buy, let's say, a pair of running shoes, and you say, I run, that's my distance, that's my base, and then the guy from the store says, yeah, I got these pairs, they're sorted by default. Pick one. Like, what do you pick? You have no idea what that is. Sort by latest is slightly better, or less bad, but still, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And the reason I chose this example is, when you're writing code, this makes a ton of sense to write it like this. When you're using the website, sort by default is never going to make any sense, because, again, what is default? And this is a working, so I'm not allowed to talk bad things about WordPress without saying bad things about Shopify. Just kidding. But, to give another example, this is a product page from Shopify store. Previous one was a water bottle website, so I chose the same category just to compare, to give a fair comparison. Every product page in every Shopify store you can access using 3 different URLs, unless you push through Cloudflare and do some redirects or whatever. Now, at least they do canonicals, so those people, you know this better than I do. They do the canonicals, this is the only URL that Google will see, but depending on how your team developer adds links to in the website, all 3 URLs can be accessed, and they look the same. It's not a big deal, unless you're someone like my colleague Luca, who was given a task to set up heat map tracking on a product page on a Shopify store, and then realized it's like a 1/3 split between 3 different URLs. So how can you do a heat map tracking on that? It just doesn't make sense. Or maybe it does, but you don't know if it makes sense for your store. That's kind of the whole point. The bottom line of this, how a website UX is made if you're using an off-the-shelf solution. Most likely, the UX, so that widget that sorts the products, and a lot of examples like that, the UX, it's supposed to be UX design, was made by a developer that you never met several years ago, and the developer never heard of the website. So imagine trying to hire a freelancer for some UX design work, and you're looking for a developer from 5 years ago who doesn't know you, and you don't know that person, and you have a brief for them over what to do. It's never going to work. So this is why relying on something written years ago by someone else that you never met is not a good idea. Luckily, it's a very simple process. Getting into optimization and starting to do optimization work is that simple. And I'll show you what that process looks like. So, there's 3 steps, and this is the Pareto principle. Because the first step of research, the boring step, if you're a client, that's just a waste of money, is going to take at least 80% of your time. So you need to do as much research as you possibly can, and learn everything you can about the website you're trying to optimize. That's the first step. And then, when you do the research, which I will explain in more detail in later slides, you're going to work on prioritization of all the issues you found, so you know what to work on first and what to work on next. And then finally, in step 3, which is like the smallest step, there's implementation. That's the testing, that's the fixing, that's whatever it is. So, let's have a look at the first step, research, because that is by far the most important one. If you have one takeaway from today, just know that optimization equals research. It's almost 1-to-1 ratio. If you do a lot of research, you will be able to optimize in a lot better way than if you're not doing research at all, or not enough research. So what that looks like, what the research looks like in conversion optimization. There are many ways to do conversion research, but one framework, or most frameworks rely on 3 different types of research at the same time, and you cannot skip research. You're going to have to do research and a lot of research before you can optimize. So the first technique is quantitative analysis, the second is qualitative, and heuristic evaluation is the third one. It doesn't have to be in order. The reason there's 3 different types of analysis is because, let's say analytics tells you something's wrong on a page, and then you're not going to just blindly go and completely rewrite the page, because what is the tracking is broken. So you're going to do user research as well. You're going to look at the page yourself, and if it all matches, the issue is real, and you're going to work. If not, maybe the tracking is off. So, what is quantitative analysis? The first one. What it does is it tells you what happens and where, which page it happens on. So basically, you're going to look at your funnel, your landing, product detail page, cart, checkout, you're going to see where the drop-off happens, where the people are dropping out of the funnel. If you look at any web analytics tool, including GA4, which people seem to pay these days, you can see that. You can really understand what's happening. And you're going to look at different segments, so maybe PPC traffic drops off from cart to checkout because the ad said free shipping, and in the cart they see for shipping. Of course, people are going to drop off. So that's one. The second thing is it's going to tell you what the most visited pages are and the landing pages are. And you do that using different web analytics tools, GA4, of course. You look at heat maps, mouse tracking, or anywhere where you're working with raw numbers, even if they're in a chart, represented in a heat map or any other kind of chart. This is basically the career of a web analyst. But to do conversion optimization, you need to know a bit of this as well. The second one is qualitative analysis, and this is, if the first one told you what happens, where it happens, this one will tell you why it happened and how it happened. And you do qualitative analysis by doing user testing, real user testing, where you talk to the user, tell them what to do, watch them, if they struggle, listen to their feedback. You can do session recordings, of course, as well. And then you can do surveys, customer support data, so anything where the raw data you're working with is not numerical, like in the first one. And just one tip about user testing, they're so easy. Just find a person who doesn't know your website that you're working on, and tell them, I want you to get this task done, and can I watch you? Can you talk out loud what happens when you're trying to do it? It's that simple. If you do 3 to 5 tests a month, you're going to be practically bug-free when it comes to conversions. So it's 3 to 5 tests a month that you need to do, no more than that, and that's a few hours of work at most. Now the third one, the most interesting one today, for this presentation at least, and I think the most interesting one for most people getting into optimization is the heuristic evaluation. Now what that is basically expert evaluation of a page. It's a method for identifying different problems with the UI of the page. And I really think what's that here, that this is the gateway drug to conversion optimization for most people that I talk to. This is how they get into it. You start looking at a page a different way. You start looking for problems. Like, why isn't this logical? Why doesn't this work the way I expected? So it's not best practices, but this is as opposite of best practices as possible. This best practices was, and trust me bro, this is going to work, I saw it on Amazon. Heuristic evaluation is aimed at trying to help you understand why something works or doesn't work. So you're starting with the why then, versus just copying what someone else did. So you should do this often. You should check your key pages, landing pages, check your website, or have someone else do it for you. Now, there's a framework that is very popular for heuristic evaluation that has a horrible name. It's an acronym. It's actually a landing page influence function for tests. So somehow that's LIFT. So it's a LIFT model. This is going to help you get started with conversion optimization. This exact framework. So what this does, it's a framework for analyzing web and mobile experiences in developing testing hypotheses. You look at 6 different factors in the page, and you analyze all 6. Are they present? Is there too much of them? not enough. So it was developed in 2009 by Chris Goward, founder of Wide Funnel Agency, conversion agency. Sorry. One second. And you look at 6 different conversion factors and how they're represented in the page. So as the main conversion driver, you see value proposition. So is the value proposition for what the page is trying to sell there? Is it strong enough? Is it communicated well enough? All that. And then you have 3 conversion boosters in relevance, clarity, and urgency. So is the page relevant for what the user is expecting to see? They click an ad for shoes and now they see a skirt. That's not relevant at all. Of course, they're not going to buy that. Then is the information communicated in a clear way? Is there a sense of urgency that is trying to trigger in the user to make him buy now? Or do they already have a sense of urgency? So let's say it's just before Christmas and you didn't buy the gifts and you can only do it online in one shop. No matter what the price is, you're going to sell that. So that's called internal urgency versus external that you are trying to trigger in the user. And there are 2 conversion inhibitors as well, so distraction and anxiety. The more distracted a page is, like if there are 7 calls to action, you only need 1 and 7 different calls to action, of course the user is going to be lost and distracted. And then anxiety, you know, if you don't have an about page or any information about the company, I'm anxious, I don't want to give you money, I don't want to, not money, I want to give you my credit card. I don't know what you're going to do with that. So, now that you know these 6 factors, I want to share that same website that I showed you earlier, the water bottle website, and maybe we can do it together. And maybe we can have a look at the page, the product page, and do risk model analysis. 5 minutes at most. So, the first thing you want to do, you're going to have to look at the web page the way the users see the web page. So this is wrong. This is very, very wrong because most users actually are going to look at the web page like this. So if you're trying to understand the users, you have to really be in the truth. You have to. This is not only a small screen, but there's distractions around it, so it's even worse. But anyway, you can't distract yourself when you work. I mean, you can. Everyone does, but you know what to do. So you're going to take your phone, or at least small keyboard on your computer, and you're going to look at the page that way, and that will look like this. So this is above the fold, first scroll, and I have another screen, another slide, and 2 more. Well, let's have a look at what happens in this page. I'll start, and then you can do the next slide. You can help me with the next slide, please. So the first thing I see, the shipping. I loaded this page from Portugal. So why am I seeing the information that the shipping is free to the US? Why are they showing me that? Why are they not using that space to do something smart? Maybe have a campaign send you to the right website at least, if that's not the one where it should. So to me, that's distraction. The distraction is there. It's not going to help the conversion. It's going to harm the chance that I buy this today. The second, there's a good one, the sense of urgency, because this is on sale. That's a good thing. This is supposed to help the conversion, but it could be better because it's early September. Why not tell me back to school discount or something like that? Or call it that so I know it's going to disappear in 2 days. It's going to be on a discount for just a few days or a week or something like that. So there's some sense of urgency, some higher sense of urgency actually than there is now. Looking at the right one, I think there's a lot of distraction here with these swatches. On my phone, on everyone's phone, they're so small that you cannot really tell which animal it is. You can just see the color, and then you have to change it to see the big one change, and then you have to look at all of these 1, 2, 3, 15. I think 15 different swatches and pick the one that you want. So maybe it's going to be a drop-down list that has a name. They have fantastical Nessie. They just have a name, so I know which animal I can expect and tell me what the color is or something like that. Because this way, the only way for me to see what the bottle looks like is to really open all of these and then forget which one I like and then go back and try to find it again. And that's a very distracting experience. So, if you don't mind, I would really like you to try to help me with this. Can you find any of these 6 factors? You can see them. Value proposition, relevance, clarity, urgency, anxiety, distraction. So if you see anything that matches these in the page, I'll give you a minute to think. 30 seconds. About what? Distraction, yeah. I mean, add to cart everywhere, yes, definitely. I'll give you one that gives me anxiety. I'll give you two that give me anxiety. So they're saying these two are frequently bought together. This is a cap that you have in this bottle, and there's a cap sold separately, and they're telling me most people buy another cap. Does that mean that the bottle comes without a cap? We need to buy it separately. And now I don't know. It doesn't say anywhere in the page it comes with a cap. But it says that they're lying, obviously, because people don't buy it together. It's just put it together to try to increase the average order value. If they say people usually buy a bottle, like who has kids here? When you buy a water bottle, do you buy another cap?
No.
No one does, right? So they either are wrong or the bottle comes without a cap. I don't know which one it is. The second one, the price for both, there's no discount there, so it costs more than adding two together.
Yeah.
So how does that make sense? It makes me anxious again. Like, do they know what they're doing? Again, no hard feelings, nothing, great products. Another one that causes me anxiety is bottle made in the USA, all that. Local goods, local jobs, zero emissions, cap made in China. Just shot themselves in the foot right there. It doesn't make a lot of sense, right? So, American Eagle, right? Anyway. So when you're done, when you're presenting this to a client, it's going to look something like this. You're just going to mark all these in the page, and you're going to say, yeah, there's clear sense of urgency, we're triggering here, so that's a good thing. The value proposition, I didn't really find it in the page, so let's say it's simple, safe, sustainable. There's no better one. The breadcrumbs are a distraction because they say uncategorized. I don't know why it's there. I mean, they should use those breadcrumbs, right? Spaces. And then this up at the top is distracting. This is distracting. It's not clear at all. The small swatches. There's some value proposition in the description, but it could be better. The reviews. I don't know if it didn't load for me properly, but they show these 5 empty, so there's no reviews for this product. Why show me that there's like 5 empty stars or whatever this is when there's no reviews? Just say write a review. And then looking at the next one, this would make me anxious. There's no clarity on frequency bought together. Like when you're recommending add-on products or cross-sells, you have to tell me why. Like you can't just say frequently bought together because I know WordPress, like that's the default. I know WooCommerce. You haven't done anything. I'm not going to buy it. And then the kids OTF, if that's the long description. Yeah, I can find it here. It's on the fly. Am I supposed to know what OTF means? That's very unclear. And then this could be relevant. This dishwasher safe, BPA, BPS free. Someone would care about that, but I honestly don't know what BPA and BPS stand for, like what the acronyms are. So maybe explain why it's important if you don't have it there. I know they're bad. I know that much. And then China. American Eagle. So, I think that's strange. I think that's really, really strange. There are small details like this that are left out. But anyway, it's a good page overall. Every page has room for improvement. That's kind of the whole thing. So when you're done with this and the quality and the quantity, you find a lot of issues that need to be worked on in the page. You don't just do unordered list, pick one and work on it. No, you need to prioritize. There's frameworks for that as well. And there are some that are that simple. The only problem with prioritization frameworks is they tend to be subjective. So you're grading your own work and how you feel something will be, but it's better than nothing. So one, very popular. Did I get the right pie? Yeah? Okay, it's called the pie framework. And it's called pie because there's 3 factors you're grading the issue for. The first one is potential, how much the issue can be improved. So if something is, let's say, a checkout is broken, like 0% that it works, yeah, the improvement can be huge because it's completely blocking you, and just by fixing it, you're going to do a lot of good work. So the second one is importance. Like how important is this issue to fix it? So if you have like a lead gen form on some page that no one ever sees and it doesn't work, who cares? Like, that's 0. You just remove it. And then the ease. The third one is ease based on technical availability of your developers, they have resources, it's a political issue within the company, there's you heard the term HIPPO, maybe the what was it? What does that stand for? You know. Highest paid person's opinion, something like that. So yeah. Maybe there's a hippo that doesn't want something to be changed, and getting them to test it is going to be difficult. So you rate everyone, and you get something like this. You get a spreadsheet, and taking the announcement bar as an example. The page and template where it appears, it's site-wide. The potential for improvement, I think it's high because, let's say you can push campaigns there, you can show them some useful information rather than, there's free shipping in the country on the which is just not right. The importance, I think, is 9 to fix something like this because everyone sees this page and giving the right information to everyone who sees your website is important. The ease, if you know what to put there, is 10, so the pi score would be average of those 0.9. You do that for all these, and once you are done, you have basically a list, an ordered list of things that you need to work on. So in this case, the first issues I would work on would be product description is too technical. This is for a parent who just wants to see something cute about their children, like how they help the children. It's too technical the way it is, so I would work on that because it's easy to do. And then the site-wide announcement bar is another one that I would start. And then you go to the one that's 8, the color options, and so on and so on. So, once you're done with that, you did all the issues, you know which ones to work on first. We have a list of things to work on. What are you going to do with them? There are several different things you can do. And if something is broken, it just doesn't work, you don't have to test it. If fixing it helps the conversion, you just fix it. So that's the easy one. If there's something that you know, trying this other option versus option A, you're just going to test right away. There's no need to write hypothesis or anything like that. You're just going to test. But sometimes you can't simply test because you don't know what the test is going to be. So you need to develop a test. You need to write a good hypothesis for that test. And a good hypothesis for an A/B test is basically saying something like, we believe that if we do this, we will make this outcome happen, and we will know if it happened when this happens. So when this metric jumps from 10%, 20%, whatever you choose. And sometimes you're going to need to do more research, and that could be more analytics implementation, that could be more user testing, to talk to more users, whatever it is. But sometimes you're just going to go back to the drawing board and do some more work. So, to recap this technique, the process, not technique. Optimization is a never-ending three-stage process. Don't let this scare you because it's actually fun, it's actually easy to get started, and I think everyone should. You will spend at least 80% of your time doing research, user research, web analytics, heuristic evaluation, everything else, because the key to becoming an optimizer is to understand what is happening and why it's happening, and why the thing you want is not happening. That is the most important thing. It will take years or decades to become Dutch-level expert at optimization, but getting started and being able to do enough damage is super easy, and I strongly encourage everyone to go back to the lift model I shared, just apply it to a page that you get one. It could be a landing page, it could be an e-commerce product page, whatever it is, your client wants to your own website. Just look at it with different settings. And again, thinking the way the users think, that is absolutely essential. That is the key. That is something that you must do, because as one guest in the podcast, John McDonald from the good conversion agency said, you can't read the label from inside the jar. And it's simple, but it's just true. If you look at it from WP admin, if you look at it from your code, if you look at it, you don't see it the way any users ever would. So you have to really ignore everything you learn, and the lift model actually helps you with that, and try to look at the website in a different way. And A/B testing, the first time you have a meeting with a client, with any client about optimization, they will ask you, can we test this? You want to tell them, no, we have to do a lot more work before we start testing. It's a tiny piece of the puzzle. It's very interesting. Yes, I think now that Google Optimize is dying. Like in 20 days, they're killing Google Optimize, so there's not going to be any free A/B testing tools for users who don't need A/B testing to work with and obsess with. I think it's going to be less of a factor. It's important still, of course it is, but I think it's not as important as most people believe it is. So that's that. Lift model. Remember the lift model. Remember the research, and you'll be good. You'll do much better than most people do. So I have let's go with questions first, and then we can do the rundown. If anyone wants to connect this to my LinkedIn, please do.
So yes, first, before we go to questions, a big round of applause, please.